That was patrol. A woman claiming to be Isabella Benvenuto called 911. She was being tortured and whipped at an East Side hotel.
You know, something's been bothering me.
And what would that be? The fact that you were found 3 days later lying in your own piss and shit, unable to move for 3 days? 3 days on that filthy floor with the decomposing, rotting bodies of Beatrice, Dante, Francesca Ramini, and Shannon O'Hara. The foul stench is what alerted the authorities. Where was your partner?
Dispatch called saying Isabella Benvenuto was being whipped and tortured. Was this true or not?
No, that was impossible.
Explain.
She was in no way, shape, or form able to make a 911 call. Every 3 days, the hydrate would wear off and we'd have to re-administer it. Busted. Isabella Benvenuto was whipped to death by Beatrice. The Panderers and Seducers were forced to run back and forth away from the whipping demons. A fitting punishment for Panderers and Squanderers who were like slave drivers. So now they must suffer the fate of the slaves. Cold and lack of movement means lacking of a soul for which is needed a sacred betrayal.
The lack of movement, that's what the Zydrate was for?
Yes. I kept her body frozen ice for a month. Every now and then moving his limb so he didn't get bed sores. But after a while, who gives a fuck, really? While you were in recovery, I was keeping her around until it was her time.
Do you have anything to add?
Yes, the last two Contrappasso murders, Gina Malatesta and Isabel Benvenuto, were for Francesca Ramini and Beatrice Rogue. Gina Malatesta betrayed Francesca by falling in love with Natalia. Isabel was the reason for Gina Malatesta's downfall. I paid him back in spades. Billy, you've proven yourself worthy of getting out of the Circle 7 violence. You've allowed me to enter into paradise. Are we good?
You've met the requirements of the deal. I will forward my recommendation for lethal injection to the governor's office. Rue Morgue will be executed at the earliest convenience. But this may take time. This case has many precedents, and it is the government after all. Lieutenant.
Yes.
Lieutenant.
Yes.
Arrest Lieutenant Caesar Dupin and take his weapon.
On what charge?
Your name was in that little black book. Black book.
There's lots of names in that book.
You're right, but yours is the most interesting. You know what? Rue Morgue said something in that interview that was unsettling. Where was your partner? I checked with dispatch. There was no 911 call from Isabella Benvenuto, nor was there a call from dispatch on Francesca Rimini and Rue Morgue at the American Gardens building. Now, there were several calls made from burner phones. My guess it was a network of informants who gave the dime on them. 8 informants are on the books, Caesar. You sent Billy to American Gardens building against policy with no backup or support, where he was ambushed and nearly killed. He lay there for 3 days. I ran the logs on your department-issued phone, and I can place you in American Gardens building. What were you looking for as your partner lay half dead, half paralyzed? You left him there to die.
Lawyer.
That's fine, Caesar. I can't question you anymore, but you can listen. I think you were looking for the little black book at the 7th Circle, and you couldn't find it. And the Contrapasso murder stopped, and the little black book died with them. You went on a one-man witch hunt to find that little black book when Malatesta, Isabel Benvenuto's bodies turned up, and Rue Morgue turned herself in.
You know half of what you think you know.
Really? Then why did Minnie Swore lodge a formal complaint? Something about you illegally hacked her smartphone, trying to find the little black book? That little stunt nearly deep-sixed the deal. Violating attorney-client privilege? That just adds to the charges.
Where was it? The little black book.
It was about halfway down Gina Malatesta's intestinal tract. She swallowed it. It took the Emmy an hour to go through all 20 feet of the large intestines. Minnie Swore put an injunction on the autopsy until after the confession. That's good lawyering.
There's one name in that book that'll hit really close to home.
And who would that be?
Your husband.
I knew about his transgressions. That's why he's my ex-husband. I took his pandering ass to the cleaners in the divorce. Rodney belongs in Circle 2 with the Roman numeral 2 scratched on his tongue and lust scratched on his teeth. Caesar Alexander Dupin, you are charged with obstruction of justice, evidence tampering, failure to report a crime, falsifying documents. Just answer this. Your name was a John at the escort service. Was it worth it?
I was just gonna take my name out of the book, okay? I got sucked in. I wanted out.
Lieutenant, arrest him. You have 10 minutes to get him to booking. Make sure you don't pass go or collect $200 without Miranda-izing him.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you by the court. Do you have any last words?
Kiss my ass.